It's no secret the way the game of basketball is played is always changing in the NBA. We had the gritty, aggressive era that was the 80s and 90s, the slow paced defensive era, which was the 2000s to the early 2010s, and the fast paced 3-point shooting era, which is the mid 2010s to now. Pretty much from the beginning of the NBA becoming an organization to the mid 2010s, most players solely played their roles and their roles only. But since then, bigs, especially star bigs, being knockdown shooters and play initiators, has become almost normal. Think of any star big in today's game who can't stretch the floor or bring the ball down the court. Off the top of your head, you probably can't. This is one of the biggest changes and evidences of development and skill in the current day NBA. At the same time, though, the excessive focus on the 3-point shot has nearly wiped out both in the paint post-up scoring and mid-range scoring. Let's analyze the current trends going on this year to further see where the game is headed next. Starting off, the NBA as a whole is averaging more steals per game than they have in the last 20 years, and the second most blocks per game among that same period. Maybe the league's defense hasn't been so bad after all. Obviously, the block stat can be largely credited to Wemby as he's averaging nearly 4 per game himself. But overall, even in this fast-paced era that we're in, with these high of numbers and these defensive stat categories, you can't deny that some level of good defense is being played right now. Next is the league average for assists per game. It may surprise you to know that the league assist average is the second highest it's been in the past 20 years. I can't say that I'm surprised by it because of how fast the game is played now and the multiple playmakers we see at all different positions, like Trae Young at the point, Book at the 2, Brown at the 3, Sabonis at the 4, and Joker at the 5. Joker, a nearly 7-foot, 300-pound center, averages the second most assists in the NBA right now. Now on to points. The league is averaging the third most points per game, not only in the past 2 decades, but in NBA history. While this feat can be credited to the increase in offensive skill among today's players, you also have to keep in mind that the defense played in today's game makes scoring a lot easier nowadays than it was in the past. With hand checking no longer being allowed and aggressive play on defense almost always guaranteeing a foul gets called, players may well be in the easiest era ever to score, which is definitely one of the reasons so many more points are being scored nowadays. Due to this, the league is currently averaging the second least fouls per game in NBA history as well. This, I'm sure, is a plus for the NBA fans because no one really likes a game that's full of fouls. It ruins the game flow and it kills the vibe quite a bit. On the flip side though, field goal percentage can also be credited to this season's high score average, as from 2005 to now, NBA teams are collectively shooting the 4th highest percentage from the field. So these two factors kind of go hand in hand. Today's defense is softer and it is in return a likely reason for players shooting more efficiently. Still though, NBA players are collectively shooting the 3rd highest true shooting percentage in the history of the game so far this season. So I lean a little more to the side of today's players just being more efficient scorers in general. One of the more surprising yet less sensible trends is that despite the NBA currently recording the most 3-point attempts per game in league history, in this season, they're shooting just the 8th highest percentage from downtown from 2005 till now. Throughout the past 20 years, they're barely top 10 in 3-point percentage, yet they've more than doubled their attempts on average from the beginning of this period till now. This is one of the biggest trends NBA fans hate because it takes away the unique identity and approach of most teams and makes nearly every game just feel like a 48-minute 3-point contest. Regardless though, unfortunately for NBA fans, the NBA being on pace to break the all-time season record for most 3-point attempts per game is an indicator that this trend may only become more prominent in the future. So overall, looking at all of the trends and changes throughout the past 20 years, the NBA is transitioning into a league that's playing better defense on paper, and I can't stress the on paper part enough, but they're also developing into a league of better playmakers, scorers, and shooters in terms of efficiency from the field. Another positive trend this season that's not stat related is the amplified formation of complete or 1-2 punch teams rather than super teams. Obviously, the 2025 trade deadline was one of the craziest and most shocking deadlines ever, centered around Luka being paired with LeBron and AD being paired with Kyrie. We saw Fox get paired with Wemby and Jimmy Butler get paired with Steph Curry, while LaVine joins Sabonis and the Kings and Brandon Ingram joins Scottie Barnes and the Raptors. Though I will confidently say I still believe the Celtics are the best team in the NBA, it's not like the 2015 through 2019 seasons where you just knew the Warriors were going to be in the finals, nor is it like 2011 through 2014 when you just knew the Heat would be there. The league's competitive balance is pretty good right now, and who will be in the NBA Finals is actually a bit difficult to predict. I don't know about you, but this makes me excited as an NBA fan to see what happens in the postseason. On the negative end though, the NBA is still overusing the three-point jumper, which in itself is a generous way of putting it, and players are no longer focusing on other parts of the game such as the post and the mid-range, which I mentioned earlier as two dying parts of offense that were very relevant in the distant past. Also, unfortunately, tough defense and competitive trash talk will probably never be what it was in the 80s through the early 2000s, thanks to Adam Silver and these soft-ass refs. So there you have it. That wraps up this video. I thank you for listening to the very end. Like, comment, subscribe. I don't care what platform you're on. Make sure you're being notified. Hit the notification bell and stay tuned for more episodes. This is Jay the Bass, and I'm out.